So this has been a rough kind of couple of weeks. I got sick, so I haven't been running, which has been very unfortunate because since my last video, I was like, life is good. I'm still kind of coughing up like all kinds of crap. I want to run, but I can't even walk without coughing, right? So we'll see. The last time I was sick was the last time I did my Kuros fitness test. And that was like 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? I can't really remember. But I can say is when I did my test back then, I got sick. I did my test this year, I got sick. Is it a coincidence? I don't know, but it was even the same month and it was actually pretty much close to the exact same date that it happened to me last time. I don't know what it is. Running after you've taken a couple of weeks off is a special kind of purgatory. I mean, you aren't exactly back at square one, but you're definitely not where you left off. And it's a mental and physical tug of war that can test even the most patient athlete, even us recreational guys. So here's 10 things that I find most frustrating about the post-illness comeback, I would say. Look, even if you weren't dealing with a respiratory bug, your lungs seem to forget their job. I know mine do. And that first mile feels like you're breathing through a cocktail straw. Your aerobic capacity drops surprisingly fast if you really haven't built it up over the years after only 14 days of inactivity. But it is what it is. Look, the heart rate spike that's going to happen is crazy. You look at your watch and you see your heart rate hitting zone 4, what used to feel like a recovery pace. And your cardiovascular system is working overtime to compensate for the slight loss of blood volume and efficiency that happens when you were on the couch or lying in the bed for like ever, coughing up a lung. The dead leg syndrome is your muscles haven't disappeared, but the neuromuscular pathways, the wiring between your brain and your legs are a bit, let's just say, rusty. You feel heavy, uncoordinated, and like you're running in work boots instead of carbon fiber trainers, running shoes, these crazy things that they make in a lab. Okay, forget about it. Just your running shoes sounds good enough. Now comes the mental math of loss of fitness. And it's easy to spiral into the thought that you've lost months of hard work. I mean, in reality, it's mostly a loss of sharpness. But convincing your brain that while you're struggling to maintain your old marathon pace, look, it may be just a losing battle. You may just have to take one for the team, if you know what I mean. And then we have the ghost symptoms. That is a little tickle in your throat. Did your chest just feel like it tightened up? When you're back from being sick, every minor ache, heavy breathing feels like a potential relapse. And the paranoia that you're doing too much too soon is literally a constant something in the brain. It's like a little earworm that just keeps going over and over again. And then we have the ego versus your GPS, okay? Watching your average pace on your watch be 45 to 60 seconds slower than usual is an ego bruiser. It's hard to accept that slow is actually what your body needs to finish the healing process. And we've all been there. It's just the nature of the game. You have to respect what the body tells you, but it's hard. Now, 7 is you have these post-run fatigue issues. You finish a short, easy 3-miler and you feel like you just ran a half marathon. And the post-run feeling epic is replaced with an immediate need for a 2-hour nap because your central nervous system is a little bit fried, just to say. Now, being a runner, having wardrobe malfunctions is not a good thing. And when you've taken 2 weeks off, it means your body composition shifts slightly. Usually just water retention or inflammation. Look, all that comfort food may have done something to your, body, but it's typically water retention or inflammation. And suddenly your favorite running tights, pants, shirts, they feel a little tight. Your hydration vest feels like it's rubbing in places that it didn't before. And well, these are all the things that I think about when it happens to me. And then there's the social media aspect, right? The fear of missing out. Checking Strava, Instagram, and seeing your running buddies hitting cool PRs or just enjoying their run, but you've been stuck in bed makes the comeback even feel a little bit more urgent. I need to get going, and a little frustrating. And you feel like the world has moved on without you and you've just been stuck. Or maybe none of that applies and you just feel like you just need to go back. Then there's the recovery paradox. The very thing that will make you feel better, running, is the thing that could potentially set you back if you overdo it. And finding that sweet spot of effort without overtaxing your weakened immune system, literally it's going to be feeling like a frustration on a tightrope. Okay? That's the way I feel. And then the Maffetone method, the maximum aerobic function method. It's basically the tortoise versus the hare strategy of the running world. Now, to answer my question pretty bluntly, yes, running can feel like it takes a long time. And the ultimate test of patience, specifically when you're coming back from being sick. Okay, specifically 2 weeks, right? But here's the reality of using the Maffetone method to ease back into whether the slow progress is actually a trap or not, or how long do I need to do this thing, and why it feels slow. Like when you start the Maffetone method, your heart rate is calculated as 180 minus your age, and it usually dictates a pace that feels more like a brisk walk or a shuffle rather than a run. Now, the frustration thing is you'll likely be 1 to 2 minutes per mile slower than your normal pace. And the timeline on coming back from being sick, and seeing improvements, and most people see a breakthrough where their pace starts to drop significantly while keeping the same low heart rate after about 3 or 4 month mark. Now, is it actually improving you? And that depends on how you define improvement, right? The Maffetone method argument is you are building a massive aerobic engine, okay? And eventually you'll be able to run your old fast pace at a much lower heart rate, meaning you can go further and recover faster. Now, the reality check that you would have to do is if you have a race in 3 weeks, the MAF method is going to feel like it's slowing you down. If you want to be healthier, less injured runner 6 months from now, it's arguably the most effective method. Now, the sick adjustment that you would have to make in this with Dr. Phil Maffetone, he's the actual creator of this method, is your specific rule of my situation is usually the formula is 180 minus my age. But if you are recovering from an illness or you have been inconsistent, you're supposed to subtract an additional 5 to 10 beats. Like, holy crap. So for example, if you're 30 years old, your MAF heart rate is 150. And if you've just had the flu, you're going to be training at 140 to 145 beats. Why is that actually good for the moment? Even if slow MAF is perfectly safe? Even if it is slow, MAF is the perfect safety net for coming back after being sick. And some of the reasons why is it's pure protection against high intensity running, which spikes the cortisol and suppresses your immune system. MAF keeps you in the healing zone. Look, there's zero guesswork. It stops you from testing yourself too early. Your heart rate monitor acts as a governor that prevents you from overdoing it and relapsing, I should say. And the verdict is it worth it? If you use the Maffetone method for the next 2 weeks to binge the gap between being sick and 100%, it's a brilliant tool. It keeps you honest and prevents injury. However, if you find it soul-crushing to run that slowly, like a lot of people do, you don't have to marry the method, okay? You don't have to be there forever. You can use it as a rehab phase, and then you can slowly introduce speed once your body stops spiking its heart rate on simple, easy hills. Look, don't get me wrong. There's so many different methods that you can use when it comes to training. You may have yours already figured out. And you may be looking at this video going, what the heck is the Maffetone method anyways? On this channel, I cover a lot of that. I've used this version of slow running that Dr. Phil Maffetone created based on others in his industry. And really it comes down to massive amounts of running very, very slow. So that way you can have full conversations that's so simple anyone can do it, all the while keeping your heart rate at a number that is very, very easy to maintain, so you don't tax your body or your system, because as you do that, you burn a lot of the fat that you have in your body as fuel. And over time, you will become a faster runner at that same heart rate. The more that you run, the more consistent you run, and eventually the longer you run. It's a good way to train. Now, look, coming back after an injury, 2 weeks is fine. Maybe working that into maybe your 80-20 type of running. But look, I'm just an average guy using this method, and I bounce back and forth talking about the Maffetone method and talking about zone 2. That's all interchangeable for me. Sometimes it's strictly Maffetone method kind of running. Other times it's zone 2, where I use my resting heart rate and my maximum heart rate to come up with all of my zones. So really, it just all depends on kind of where I am and what I'm doing. And that's the beautiful thing about being a runner, is you can do whatever it is that you want to do and whatever brings you happiness and joy. And you don't have to be so rigid on one particular method. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll all get along, and we'll all get to the same place at the end of the day, and hopefully that is a race. I'd love to do one. It's been a little while. I know I keep talking about it. We'll see. Like I always say, get out and run. See you on the next one.